Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking all about stability shoes. There's two categories of running. So there's a neutral category and then stability. Majority of the population will be wearing neutral shoes. There's this other smaller category called stability. So a lot of shoes are moving towards neutral, but there's still that category that exists, and we're gonna depict what that exactly means in this video. So inherently, stability literally is referring to arch support. So a lot of people pronate, and traditionally shoe brands would make shoes that would stop the foot from pronating, and that's actually not necessarily a good thing, but it kind of depends on the situation. So we're gonna talk more about how and why and all that sort of stuff later on in the video. But before we do, I want to talk a bit about the evolution of stability shoes so that we can understand the rest of the video. Okay, so the first shoe we're going to talk about is the Mizuno Wave Inspire. This is the most traditional sort of stability or arch support. In the past, a lot of shoes were like this in the stability category, where there's this thing called a medial post, and medial means the inside of the shoe, and the inside is referring to the midline of the body. So the side closer to the midline of the body is the medial side, and there's usually a plastic plate that stops you from rolling in, because a plastic piece like that will not compress because it's a hard material, and therefore it stops the pronation, which is the rolling in motion, which is actually meant for shock absorption, but I talked about that in another video. Go check it out in the description. The key thing to know about the traditional type of stability shoe is that a lot of the support happens under the foot, so therefore every single step you're going to be getting that support. But we'll find out soon that there's other shoes in the modern world where you get stability in a different sort of way. So this brick shoe is an interesting one. It does have stability features, but it's actually on the side of the shoe. So we have these things called guide rails, which is like a wall on either side of the shoe. So you actually get it on the lateral side, the outside, the side further away from the midline. If you think of a bowling alley and you set up the walls, it would only help you out if you throw the ball that's about to go into the gutter, because you'll bounce back in. So similarly to that, if you're rolling in too much, you'll kind of prop you back. If you're rolling out too much, you'll also prop you back. If you're landing in an awkward angle, like in the trails where you are like that, it'll kind of give you that extra support as well. So it won't give you the support if you're just landing normally on flat ground and you're pretty stable. So it gives you the support when you need it and not all the time, which is what I like about this more modern type of stability. This is another type of stability called dual density. Dual density literally just means two types of foams, so it's actually called dual density midsole, and the midsole is referring to the shoe that's under the foot, so your foot steps on the midsole, I guess you can say. So that part of the shoe is called the midsole. Dual density means that there's two different hardness of foam. So in this shoe, the top half is softer, the bottom half is a bit firmer, like harder, and you can notice that when I flip the shoe to the lateral side, the side where we don't need the arch support, we have more of the soft foam and less of the firm foam. That means that under the arch we have more of the hard foam, meaning you'll get that support. Good thing about dual density as opposed to a plastic piece is it's not as aggressive, in the sense that there's more research nowadays to show that stability shoes are becoming less bought and also less necessary. And the reason for this is because rolling in is a shock absorbing mechanism, as I talked about earlier. Now, Asics have done a pretty cool stability shoe recently, and this is called the Maehara 30. They have a pretty unique and modern style of stability. This also has dual density, but unlike the New Balance shoe that I showed earlier, this foam here is actually softer than the rest of the shoe, where it's a bit firmer. And that might be weird to some people, because why would you want the arch support to be softer when all the shoes in history have been firmer? This is a unique type of support where it has this thing called a decoupled groove. So this is a groove in the midsole at the back. Basically, this groove will keep the shoe on the outside. So everyone lands on the outside or the lateral side of the foot, and then they tend to roll inwards. So this will keep you on the outside, the decoupled groove, and then once you actually roll in, you're gonna end up rolling onto this thing called the 4D guidance system, and this is a very bouncy foam. So once you roll in, it's gonna bounce you back up, so it's less of a hard piece and it's more of a bouncy mechanism. So it's quite a unique type of support shoe, and therefore a lot of people like it. It's closer to a neutral shoe. I think it's an amazing way to give support. Alright, so who is arch support for? In the past, a lot of people would be like, oh, arch support's good. It's always good. It's for everyone. And everyone would kind of fall into that trap and get the Kano or whatever. But we're at a stage where research shows that not everyone needs to have arch support. So if you're watching this video, there's a high chance you might not need it, but there's a few good ways to work out whether you need it or not. The first thing I would do is whatever shoe you have currently, I would look at the bottom of the shoe and see how you're wearing out the shoe. Obviously it depends what shoe that is, but in general, if you have way more wear on the outside or the lateral side further away from the midline of the body, if you have way more wear on the outside of the shoe, then it means that you're getting pushed out too much by the shoe. So the easiest way to explain is with arch support, it's doing this to you. If you already have quite a high arch and you add arch support, you're really pushing towards the outside of the shoe. Ideally you want to land on the outside of the heel and then go inwards, but you don't want to stay outside because you're wasting all this surface area here if you're actually just staying on the outside. You actually want to roll in because that's the way you absorb shock. So that's a very good indicator that you should step away from stability shoes and go for a neutral shoe. The other thing is if you get pain from your shock absorbing mechanism, then I would consider getting a stability shoe. And the specific places that you get pain from when rolling in is either the inside of the ankle, so there's the tibialis posterior tendon that runs here around the medial malleolus here, and also some people when they roll in their knees cave in as well, and then they get a lot of pain on the outside of the knee. Those two locations are pretty good indicators that you need a stability shoe to kind of help out with that. But I always advise seeing a podiatrist or a physio that knows their stuff before you just go and buy a stability shoe, because it's more of a niche thing. Think of stability as more of a, you gotta get checked and then referred to that shoe, whereas neutral would be like you would buy it regardless of what anyone says. Like, it's pretty safe to wear. So that's how I would think of it. But yeah, there's this heavy misconception that people think everyone needs arch support, but that's definitely not true. And I think that's the main message I want to drive home today. And I did make another video about like running shoes and what shoe to buy, so I definitely recommend you check that out. But apart from that, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cool. Should I end on that? I reckon we should end with Dan because it's like I'm gonna beep that out.